So many just like beautiful black faces. Allow me just a moment to take the room in. It's my first time being out in this part of the space. Y'all look good as hell, good as hell. So today we are gonna shed light on a competition that I had the opportunity to be a witness to last week. It's called Moguls in the Making, brought to you by Ally. If you're unfamiliar, the Moguls in the Making program sees students from HBCUs come together for a chance to pitch their entrepreneurial spirit, right? So it's a pitch competition, but also these young people are being nurtured to understand how the world of business works, especially as it pertains to business. So if you're unfamiliar with Ally, it is a digital finance service, is one of the best in the world, and in partnership with the Thurgood Marshall College Fund, as well as the Sean Anderson Foundation, which is Big Sean's program. They put on the Moguls in the Making competition, and we have the winners from Morehouse. Y'all make some noise for our young black kings up here. I want to make sure I get the names right, left to right. So we have Amari Torrance, we have Travis Sherman, we have Zion Melson. Good brothers. What's up? How y'all feeling first and foremost?
What's up, man? How you been? How you been, bro?
Oh, you got the R&B voice on. He said, yeah, what's up, what's up, what's up? You know, it's a vibe, it's a vibe. Yo, congratulations, first and foremost. I was there last week when you all were pitching. To see so many young black people excited about the opportunity to pitch, to be a part of business, to learn, to be mentored was super impactful. But I do recall after y'all won, we had an interview and y'all were real dry. So a week later, tell me, how are y'all feeling about winning the competition?
It feels amazing, man. It feels great. I'm still excited every day I wake up.
Okay, anybody else want to talk about their excitement? Brother down.
So, personally, I just love the opportunity that we had to even participate. We all know that the end goal was to win, but even more than that, it was just to get to know how we would work together as a team and just bond with each other and also network. So it was a great experience. For
sure, for sure. Going into the competition, what were your expectations? Did the experience exceed them?
So like surpassed my expectations, to be honest with you. I wasn't expecting much. I know TMCF always performs and shows out, but Ally, they were just like, the people there were really inviting. They poured into us, and we had to perform for them, so it was great.
So what was the nature of the business that y'all pitched?
So we did, so the way it worked, they did like a little spin wheel, right? So each group got like an industry, and our industry was housing, right? So the big thing was like, how can we help like economic mobility in housing, right? Because there's a lot of poor people. What innovative ways can we think to like combat that pretty much? And it was interesting because it's a challenge. It's funny, me and Travis actually just worked in another competition for Zillow. Wow. And it was for housing too. So we didn't win, but it was kind of like a second chance. And it's crazy that we're up here now reaping the rewards from it, so yeah.
That's amazing. So Travis, the phrase of the entire competition was economic mobility, right? It's the theme of Moguls in the Making, essentially. What does that actually mean to you?
So for me, I see it as like, how can we bring low-income people up the ladder, right? So, and so for us, we saw with us having housing that, of course, like real estate is one of the most like straightforward ways to gaining wealth, right? And so with that knowledge, we just went full steam ahead and was like, okay, so like, this is the best way to move people up the ladder with wealth.
Got you. So I went to an HBCU. I went to North Carolina A&T State University. Any Aggies in the building? Can I get an Aggie pride? All day. We represent. Shout out to Clark Atlanta. Shout out to Spelman, FAMU, Morgan State, Howard University, of course, Hampton University. The list goes on and on and on. I appreciate my experience. I appreciated my experience going to an HBCU. I feel like it redefined what blackness meant to me, right? Because it's a spectrum. I'm from Jersey, born and raised. My idea was, Essex County, Irvington, New Jersey, we really outside with it. You feel what I'm saying? But my experience going to my HBCU kind of realigned what I understood to be black, how you could define black, right? Like, I was accustomed to Essex County, New Jersey, very specific, but I was now immersed in Jack and Jill culture, Southern culture, Midwest culture, and all of these things. How do you feel like your experience at a HBCU helped you navigate the competition?
So I could touch on this. I feel like the whole culture aspect. So being at Morehouse College, you know, we all want to push ourselves to be the best. And so with that brotherhood, that nourishment that we all carry with each other, is like, okay, how can I help my brother and how can I pick him up? And you know, we all want the best for ourselves. And so just that, being in that culture really helps you really cultivate what you really want to do in life. So.
Yeah. Anybody else?
I would say too, being on the ground. So like I come from the suburbs, like
Which is beautiful, by the way.
Right.
Let's acknowledge that.
Like and it's a lot of white folks up there and they're really comfortable, you know what I'm saying? So being down here and seeing it firsthand, it gives me like a whole different view. It like completely reshaped my mind, and it's a blessing, truthfully, to have had that. And I honestly feel like it might be controversial, but every black kid raised in the suburbs should go to a HBCU.
I like that. We can clap it up for that right there. I'm not, every young black person, period. I think the HBCU experience is so dynamic. I know that there are people out there who have this ideology that HBCUs are no longer necessary because we have integrated in society. We don't need to have a space that's exclusively for us. But it's the one and only time in our lives that we have the chance to be the majority in the space in which we are operating.
Right.
Every nuance, every part of our culture, every part of our personality is appreciated. There's a space for everybody that looks like us at an HBCU campus. And my friends who went to PWIs, they had a great experience, but they were really segregated amongst, you know what I mean? And it's just not like that. It's not like that when you go to HBCUs. So anybody who lives under the idea, the notion, the ideology that HBCUs are obsolete and no longer a necessary part of our society, I just think that you are sorely misunderstanding what that experience is and how we live in that, man. Morehouse is a very special institution and university in and of itself. Morehouse College, I'm speaking of course. What is it about the men of Morehouse that allowed them to enter the world with such ferocity, tenacity, and become so successful?
So I see it as like just based on our alumni and just how we're taught, like we want to change the world like for the better. And I feel like that's something that like regardless of what major like that you're going towards, right? So I'm software, he's econ, he's finance. Regardless, we want to improve the world for the better. And I feel like that's the common thing that Morehouse men all have.
For sure, okay. Anybody else? Y'all are all Morehouse men, and I've always been envious of the brotherhood that y'all share. So while I'm here with some men of Morehouse, I'd love to hear just about your experience and how it's helping shape you for potential opportunities down the line.
Yeah, I guess alongside that, Morehouse really lifts you up and it puts you in situations you might not be comfortable in, right? So it forces you to grow. I feel like, hold on. Like, it's weird because it's almost magical in a way because, like, everything's right there in front of you, but you gotta get it. You know what I'm saying? They told us at orientation, the crown's placed above your head, but you gotta rise up to it. You know what I'm saying? So it's the opportunities and everything. Like, look at us right now. You know what I'm saying? We right here. But we had to work to get here. You know what I'm saying? So it's really interesting. And I really feel like Morehouse is, and I'm not even saying that because I go there, but it truthfully is. Especially being in Atlanta, the opportunity, you just got to rise up to the crown, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Okay. They took all my questions out the monitor. It's all good. We're going to freestyle this thing. It's what I do best anyway. I would love to know, what were the most important takeaways from your experience in the Moguls in the Making competition?
All right. So for our team, I feel like it's trusting the people who are on your team and trusting the people that are presented to you to help you. I think that's number one. I think number two, it's like broadening your mind out to different avenues in the world, right? So I'm software, so typically I think about technology, but like with Moguls, I got to see different, I guess you could say avenues, of the world. Yeah. So right, so finance, I saw with like sports and things like that. So I think like just like expanding like my creativity in my mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need all y'all to answer. This was important.
So I would like to just touch on the networking aspect. Honestly, I believe it was like 17 different HBCUs.
15.
15 different HBCUs, and so we were able to just meet, people from across the country, and really just get a different aspect of what people thought of how they can create impact around the world. And so, just being able to learn from others too as well, like that aspect.
Sure.
It's interesting. I'm gonna go off a little bit, but what Trav was saying, he's a software engineering major, right? And I feel like right now in time we're like a digital divide. Like you keep hearing digital divide. You could talk about metaverse and all that stuff, but like for the first time ever, black folks have the opportunity to really capitalize at the extent that these white folks have been doing for the last, 400 years, you know? So like, not just HBCU students, but everyone, and that's what I pride myself on. I built my company off of that, right? And I really just hope that like certain people hear what I'm saying, like this is the time for all of us to rise up and actually have generational wealth. That's the key word we use, but make something, own something. So I don't know, when he was talking about that, it got in my head, so I had to say that.
Sure. Yeah, like to piggyback off you said about the network, and one of the biggest takeaways for me going to HBCU was just being able to build tribe and community with people who had an understanding of my experiences, right? Like, it's such a blessing to walk into a room as you get older and you start to enter the business world or creative space, whatever it is, and you see somebody who says they went to an HBCU as well. There's a look in the eye that you get. There's a level of connectivity, a level of protection and safety that you afford each other. And that's what we have to do as a community, through and through, even for those who did not go to HBCUs. But when you have that HBCU connection, it really, really, really goes a long way. So you guys, in addition to winning a lot of money, I don't want to put your pockets out there, but they won $20,000 a piece. Y'all make some noise for these young black brothers. 20 bands. I asked you last week, things may have changed. I see you got a new gold chain on. How are we spending this $20,000, fellas?
I gotta pay my mom back for school.
Hey,
She helped me out,
cut the check to Mom Dukes. Love that.
So half of it is going to be towards giving it back to my family and also giving it some to charities as well. Okay. And then the rest, I'm going to be spending it.
You gonna be spending it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for me, I got little siblings back at home, and so there's a few things that I want to get them, i.e. laptops, stuff like that, just to further better their education too as well. And in addition, I want to give back to the programs in which I was in. So whether that be Moguls, I was also a part of Midnight Golf Detroit, which is a college preparatory program as well. Just giving back, pay it forward.
That's amazing, man. I will say though, I noticed that nobody mentioned taxes. I don't know if y'all know, but I think y'all might have to pay taxes on 20. I don't know if we have confirmed that or not, but I just want to just put like a third to the side, you know what I'm saying, in case Uncle Sam come bothering y'all. Now, in addition to that money, you also have the opportunity to have an internship with Ally. And Ally they have amazing people, right? Like just last weekend, we were in Charlotte, just being able to experience the culture that exists in Ally. It was very powerful and impactful to see that many people invested into us, right? And into our universities, into our community, but also talk and look like us as well. Tell us a little bit about your experience with Ally and what you're looking forward to once that internship starts.
Yeah, so I talked to Jennifer Ho, actually, I called her the other day, and she was talking about all the opportunities they have, and it was great, but like, in a weird way, Ally feels like home, like Nat's around been like showing us everything.
Miss Natalie Brown, we're gonna say her whole name out here, you know what I'm saying? If y'all don't know Big Boss, sorry.
Right. So they're really inviting, you know what I'm saying? And they'll pour into you and help you grow, so it's a great company.
Sure. I need all of y'all. They cut the check. Come on now.
Oh yeah. So personally, I worked at other companies, whatever, but like I've never felt like a sense of belonging at Ally, to be honest. So that's what first drew me to being okay, I definitely want to intern there, right?
Okay.
But also just realizing that they're pretty technically enabled too as well. So that's great for my career.
Okay.
I feel like that Ally has a lot to provide. Like you said, a sense of belonging was definitely one of them. And just the community aspect, I feel like that they want everybody to excel in their careers. And so that support, let alone, is definitely a place to be. So I definitely look forward to being a part of the team.
Yeah, I think y'all gonna have a good time. It's a family experience. And even those who didn't win, right? Who didn't win the competition or didn't come in first place, they'll also be a part of that family. And you guys will always be able to recall upon that experience because it'll shape the rest of your professional lives, which is super amazing. One of the things that I noticed last week when we were in Charlotte too is that people were being their most authentic selves. And there was not a need to feel like you had to code switch in order to be accepted in Allies building, along with Thurgood Marshall College Fund. I think that is something that as a young person, I was always nurtured to believe that I could not do. I was taught that I had to speak with a certain tongue that was different than my natural tongue in order to be able to survive, exist, and thrive in any space that I wanted to ascend in. Did you guys have a level of comfortability last week in that you could be your most authentic selves?
Yeah, 100%. Like, everyone was shouting out their school, doing their calls the entire weekend, so there was no real code switching, and it was all black folks in there anyway, so we talked to each other like we talk to each other.
Sure.
For me, it was definitely a first great impression, of a corporate setting. I haven't had too many, and so Ally really just allowed me to be myself. And, I really appreciated that because, well, from what I've heard, you might not always not have that opportunity to be that way in a corporate setting, and so that's great.
Sure. So one thing that kind of eludes our community in mass is financial literacy. It's a struggle sometimes for us to understand economics, finances. Myself, like I'm still trying to figure it out. That was also, economic empowerment was also a huge component of last weekend as well, just ingraining that and embedding that into you young men and women who are present in the competition, just to fully understand the magnitude of how important it is to learn and master economics and finances. Why do you think that's so important for our community, and what do you feel like we can do going forward to help in mass change how our community handles financial literacy?
So I guess like with the first part, if it's really like shortening like the wealth gap right now, which of course we all know like that's a huge gap.
Yeah.
But I feel like ways that we can combat that, I feel like it's two ways. I feel like one is, of course, starting like with the parents, of course, and making sure like that they're educated, but also starting like with the children.
Yeah.
Right. So of course, because as like generations retire, it's gonna be new generations coming into the workforce. So I feel like those are like the two ways I feel like that we could do it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. I feel like people should make it a part of their lives more. You know what I'm saying? Like I told you my history where I grew up. It wasn't, it's uncommon that people know what a stock is, a bond is, can explain it thoroughly. You know what I'm saying? They know what's going on with the macroeconomic climate right now, right? But what happens is when you start talking about this to people who aren't familiar, they zone out. They don't hear it. It's fruitless, So it really comes to like, you guys, like, you have to do it yourself. Like, we can tell you and we can educate you and give you all the resources, but if you don't do it and make a point in doing it, it's for nothing, right? So there's a certain level of like self-accountability and responsibility that all black folks need to have if they really want to get to that next level, or is it just for talk, you know?
For sure. I think that one of the things that was to my detriment was I was taught survival, right? Early on, like that was the crux of what my family instilled in me is how to survive. And I've, as an adult now, I can say that survival has impeded my progress, which can sound crazy, but when you're not given the skills in order to learn how to truly fly at the capacity in which you're capable, because you're just in a constant state of how do I survive? How do I make sure these bills are paid? It really does put you in an unfortunate position and situation that other communities don't necessarily have to deal with, right? Just even having that knowledge. So I'm really glad that you guys are aware of that you guys consume that information and internalize it. Because, you guys are already sharp, for sure. But now that you've mastered this program, I think that you'll have the ability to disseminate that information onto other people at your universities and within the community, which I challenge you all to do. Just if you have information, please make sure you share it. So right now, I'm going to put y'all to a little test, okay? So, you went through this extensive program. You learned a lot. We have a lot of beautiful black people out here this weekend who are really trying to understand some of the things that you all were taught firsthand in a really close and intense environment just last weekend. I need each of you to give me two take. This fly is like real aggressive. Come on, G. But I need you each to give me two very valuable lessons that you want to tell people out there so that they can benefit from the information that you acquired?
Okay, so I'd like to touch on one first. And this is more so on the financial aspect since we were just talking about it. A lot of people, grow up in survival mode. That's how I learned to grow up, was in survival mode. Like, what can I do to make sure that I maintain my lifestyle and sustain? But that's not the overall goal. It's economic growth, economic mobility. And so pay yourself first. That is definitely a big key takeaway, especially when dealing with your finances. You always want to make sure that you pay yourself first. And whether you're putting that towards a emergency account or a savings account, you want to make sure that you have some money put away to the side, because you never know what life might have in store for you.
So I guess to kind of add to his point, they told us that usually people see budgeting as kind of scary. So kind of they see budgeting as it's really stressful. But to be honest, the way that they broke it down was that it's that budgeting actually allows you to be more stress-free, because now okay, I have this much money for this month, this for that month, blah, 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 right? So in my opinion, I agree with that. Budgeting will be a lot more stress-free.
Yeah, for sure. Knowing where your finances are going is important if you have that structure, right? And you're disciplined in operating within that structure. That's also very important.
I would say allow yourself to be vulnerable. Dealing with your finances isn't it's not fun. You know what I'm saying? No one wants their pockets shown and everything. But allow yourself to be vulnerable and take in information from a perspective you might not think can give you anything, right? So also staying open to everyone's perspective and what they can bring, because you might not know that could help you in a way that they couldn't imagine.
For sure. Yeah, man, we've all, if we've traveled, been on those group trips where one of the homies is they ain't budget right. You know what I'm saying? Now we at dinner and we try to figure out who responsible for what. They're I didn't get no drinks. Bruh, come on, man. We splitting this bill equally across the board. Yo, I'm so impressed. I'm so thankful for the opportunity that I had last week to be in Charlotte with you all. I'm super thankful right now that I get to sit with you and have this conversation and dialogue. It really means the world to me. I have a son and a nephew, right? They're 14 and 16. I told y'all this last week, I believe. But sometimes I'm afraid that they can be a little bit lacking in energy, right? Because it's just a thing sometimes with the younger generation like this. They're not very excitable, but they're brilliant. And to see you all gives me inspiration for what my children can become. And I mean that genuinely and sincerely. You all are beautiful, bright, young black men. And I am such a fan. I look forward to seeing how you will evolve. And I want everybody right now to put their hands together for these young moguls in the making. Yes, so on behalf of Ally, on behalf of the Thurgood Marshall College Fund, the Sean Anderson Foundation, we thank you. Please make sure you keep your eyes and ears open and aware of this program. It is dynamic. If you are at an HBCU, I want to make sure that you have the experience, you have the potential to have the experience that these young men had, because it was truly remarkable. But I think it's also important to bring out somebody who was instrumental in making it all come together. So can we please put our hands together one more time for the queen, Miss Natalie Brown. Hey, boss lady.
Hello, hello. How's everybody? Are they not amazing students? Let's give it up. Well, at Ally, we're so proud to host Moguls in the Making, a program that is near and dear to me. I'm an alum of the North Carolina A&T State University Aggie Pride in the house. And so proud to have these students to participate in this program. For us, it's about doing it right? Doing it right for our community, doing it right for our customers, doing it right for everyone here in the room. We believe in making sure that we are providing an opportunity for students like these students here at Morehouse and all students at all historically black colleges to compete, right? To have an opportunity, to have a pathway. Things that we didn't have growing up, we want to make sure that these students have that opportunity to do so. So we're proud to be here. We're proud to partner with the Thurgood Marshall College Fund. Give it up for TMCF, everybody. My partners in the front. On behalf of Ally, we're happy to be here. Thank you so much for allowing us an opportunity to share about Moguls, to highlight these wonderful, talented students that are going to change the game in the future.
Thank you all so much. Make sure you hydrate. Put that extra layer deodorant on. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. Come on, fellas. We out of here.